might have to let it drop. Let it drop.
Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Den 313 with Will back with another episode. My boy Steve working. Steve, hey, appreciate you grinding. Better you than me. I'm glad I'm here and I'm going to talk some Detroit Lions content. Steve will probably be dropping something on you tonight. I'm not sure if I'll be with him tonight or not because we got some scheduling conflicts going on. We shall see. If not, he's got one locked and loaded that you can't miss. But I want to get into some Detroit Lions content today. A buddy of mine asked me a question about a certain person. If you can't tell by my shirt today who that person is, it's none other than Jahmyr Gibbs. And I want to get into a conversation about him. But before I do, let's get into a little bit of injury news because I think it's pertinent. As I look through Monday's injury list, and Steve will probably have an updated one from today, going into this game, this Thanksgiving Day game against the Green Bay Packers, there's a few big ones that stand out to me as non-practice players. When I look at Graham Glasgow and Kirby Joseph, as well as Brock Wright, those are huge to me. No disrespect to Khalif Raymond. Also, major role when we talk about that special teams too aspect of it, of him being a kick returner. Really, you could say all of these guys are a huge deal. But Graham Glasgow, kind of the center of that offensive line that's already banged up. And then Brock Wright, who is already standing in for a Sam Laporta, who may be out for the season. If not, he's going to be out for a while. Two big deals. And then talked about offensively against the Giants, then just it being very noticeable, Kirby Joseph not being out there. A lot of those footballs that hung up in the air that normally Kirby Joseph would have been getting his hands on were completions for Jameis Winston. So those are all a big deal. All of them have me worried. But then the rest of the list, you can read it and peruse it. But guys that were full practice that I'm excited for, Marcus Davenport. Can't wait to have him back. We pretty much didn't have a pass rush against the Giants. Definitely need him out there, bull rushing guys and doing what he does. Josh Pascal back, and then Miles Frazier. Excited to see what Miles Frazier is, because if he can contribute to this offensive line, I think it'll be huge for the Detroit Lions. So big deal going into this Thanksgiving Day game, and these guys that are on that injury list. Looking forward to see who's in and who's out for practice today and just moving forward throughout the week, because there's a lot of guys on that list that are, to me, must-haves out there if we're going to be successful for the second half of the season. But getting into the meat and potatoes of this episode, a buddy of mine asked me a question yesterday. We were talking, and we were just talking about Jahmyr Gibbs and the great game that he had, just bringing it in. It was absolutely phenomenal. 26 touches, 264 total yards and 3 TDs, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. Dude played out of his mind. It was phenomenal. It was special to watch. So he posed the question, and he said, where do you think Jahmyr Gibbs ranks with the running backs? And it was a no-brainer for me. I've been screaming this for a while now. I think he's the best running back in football. So bringing in a list, and this is what we're going to have a conversation about as I bring in a list here. And this is no official list. This is just a list that I pulled off a line. So you rank them as you wish. But Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. How Christian McCaffrey isn't up here is crazy, but Christian McCaffrey should be in the mix. Jonathan Taylor, Ashton Jinsey, Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, and Devon Achane. So when we're talking about best running backs in the league, when I look at the list, I think to myself, what is it that these guys can do that Jahmyr Gibbs can't? That's the first thing. That's the first thing that I think about. What can these guys do that Jahmyr Gibbs cannot do? I would say maybe Derrick Henry has a better stiff arm than Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay. Like that after that, I don't know what guys on that list are going to be able to do that Jahmyr Gibbs can't. So then I can pair that with what can that guy who's got something better, or those guys who have something better, do to the contrary. Like, so am I looking at, hey, this guy can do something special that Jahmyr Gibbs can't offer, or Jahmyr Gibbs can offer something that those guys can't offer? I think he offers something that none of those guys but Devon Achane on that list offer is crazy pure speed. But when I think about Devon Achane, he's got the speed, but he doesn't have the full package like Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is bananas. And I think that there's something really, really interesting that Coach Campbell is doing that is kind of driving people crazy, but I understand why he's doing it and I want to talk about it. But I just think that we're witnessing something special, and it's a blessing that we have this guy in Detroit. We talked about it the other day in our episode. Us putting up videos, every time we do it, we get a copyright smack from YouTube. So going to stay away from the videos, but I'm going to bring in a couple of things. First thing is this. Jahmyr Gibbs, especially early in his career, and still by some, especially non-Detroit people, he's been deemed as this scat back, this running back that needs to be outside of the tackles, this running back that's not physical. He can't pass protect, all of these things. It's all a farce. It's not legitimate. This dude can do everything you need a running back to do on the football field. And I think that it was all displayed in this Giants game for the world to see. This play right here. 3 Giants coming up to attack Jahmyr Gibbs. This play ends with Jahmyr Gibbs looking down on these guys on the sideline and finishing this run, standing upright, out of bounds, and all those guys on the ground. He has no issue being physical at the point of attack, and he is not a guy who can't run inside. 2 of his runs were inside zone plays that went into the A gap, right? The AB gap. So he's not just a guy who's getting tosses, or he's not just a guy who's lining up as a slot receiver or a wing and getting screen passes. No, he's not a scat back, man. He's a running back who happens to be able to do all of the things that you need a running back to be able to do, to include have speed. Receiving. Down by the goal line, Jared Goff lobbed a pass over a defender who was a free rusher. Gibbs went and caught it over his shoulder. His speed and momentum was taking him out of bounds. He dives, stretches out, and gets this football over the pylon. Just a beautiful display of athleticism, body control, awareness. It's just special what this guy can do with the football in his hand. Now, I mentioned the runs inside the tackles. Again, people try to put this guy in a box like he's a scat back. No. It's not a Derrick Henry stiff arm. It's him stiff arming a guy as he's running away from him, but gave the guy a little jab, stiff arms him, and then proceeds to start running away from him. It was a just phenomenal run where he broke a couple of tackles and just refused to go down. Again, this is not a scat back. This is a special running back. This is a running back who I'm not going to disrespect Barry Sanders in any type of way. Barry Sanders, to me, one of the greatest running backs of all time, if not the greatest. You know, I think that that's a debate that can always be had. You have so many great ones, but he's definitely in that conversation as the greatest of all time. But I think Jahmyr Gibbs is gonna compete for the greatest Detroit Lions running back, and could be one of the greatest running backs of all times if he continues on the path that he's on, because he can do, again, every single thing you need a running back to do. Jahmyr Gibbs can do it. So, continuing, and last thing, and this is a thing that I feel like Barry Sanders didn't even have this. On that run, first carry of overtime, which is special in itself. I feel like all of these GOAT players, these great players, have these moments to where it's kind of like one of those things where it just shouldn't happen. You shouldn't take the opening carry of overtime for a touchdown. It just shouldn't happen. But one of the things that stood out to me about that play was this right here. And this isn't even a good angle. I tried to find a better angle, but the safety had the angle on Jahmyr Gibbs to run him down and run him out of bounds. And Gibbs just outran the angle. And not only did he outrun the angle, he outran the angle easily. It was bananas, man. I think if you watched the previous podcast, I told people we just happened to sit in the section to where most of Gibbs's big plays were ran directly at us. On that play when he broke the line of scrimmage, he looks inside, hits the gas, and then he spins pretty much the end, probably the last 10 yards of this thing running easy. Like it looked easy, and it was almost another situation where he's just kind of chuckling like, I don't even really got to put it in fifth gear. Fourth is going to get me to the end zone. Maybe third. I'm a cruise there. So, I don't know, man. I've been debating this thing with my buddies. I thought it was worth debating here. Let's get into this comments and banter. If for some reason you don't believe Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football, I'm here to talk about it. I'm here to banter about it because, again, as I look through this list, Saquon Barkley, okay. I think Gibbs is faster than Saquon Barkley, and I think that Gibbs is more of a threat in the pass game than Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is a great running back. He's got a big lower half. He's powerful, but I think that Gibbs is his power is underrated. Talked about that in this episode. Derrick Henry doesn't offer the speed. He doesn't offer the pass game. I just don't even think it's close. Bijan Robinson, hell of a running back. I do think that Gibbs offers more speed, but he's definitely in the conversation. I can't take anything away from Bijan Robinson. Christian McCaffrey, I think that his time being injured, I think that automatically kind of makes me kind of put an asterisk by his name. And then I just don't know that Christian McCaffrey, again, has the same speed as Jahmyr Gibbs. Jonathan Taylor has the speed, but I don't feel like he has the pure athleticism that Jahmyr Gibbs has to be. I think Jahmyr Gibbs truly could be a slot receiver if he truly wanted to. And the same thing goes for the rest of this list. As I go through this list, and I want you to do the same, where do you rank Jahmyr Gibbs? Is he the best running back in football? And for those of you guys that are going to say, man, Will, why does it matter? Why does it matter if he's the best running back in football? Why does it matter where he ranks? This is why it matters. The Detroit Lions have a very, very young offensive core. St. Brown still has a lot of football ahead of him. Isaac Tesla is a baby, and I think he has a whole lot of potential. J-Mo, still a baby. Penei Sewell, still a baby. This offensive core, outside of Jared Goff, they're all super young. So if you're telling me we have the best running back in football, one of the best receivers in football, and potentially an additional piece that could be in a top 10 conversation in that wide receiving core, plus a phenomenal role piece in Isaac Tesla, who could, I know there's some big-time Tesla fans, he could end up being more than that. We have a phenomenal young core group of guys to continue to chase offensive greatness. I think this is something that should be talked about, man. And on top of that, man, the bottom line for me is I just love to get into this thing as banter, man. I love to get into this thing and banter. I love to get into this thing and talk about the Detroit Lions and us having phenomenal players. It just makes me feel good. So let's get in here and talk about it. Do you believe, man? Do you believe that Jahmyr Gibbs is the best running back in football? Do you think that the Detroit Lions got an absolute steal? Because we were talking about this was a reach. This was a reach. What were we doing? What were we talking about? What were we thinking, man? I think it wasn't a reach. I think it was a steal. I think it was a steal in the first round, and we're lucky that somebody didn't jump ahead of us and go get him sooner. And I think if we drafted again, hey, I think that would be happening. So leave it in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling. Steve will be back with another episode later tonight.